Hey, Marcus House with you here, and today we're talking about the huge new additions to the Starship happening over this last week. New, larger forward movable fins, header tanks for landing now up in the nose of the ship, cold gas attitude control thrusters, and massive batteries. The 3 fins are now no more, there are now just the 2 instead. The 3 Raptors are already installed, and finally everything getting stacked up. Let's get stuck right into this. Now, last week we talked about how quickly Starship was coming together. The progress was amazing, but I was at the same time a little doubtful that the prototype at Boca Chica, Texas would be ready in time for Elon Musk's presentation on the 28th of September. I think within around 12 hours of me posting the video, we were seeing astounding progress with the vessels, and instantly my last video was already out of date. So as far as we know, Elon Musk is going to be providing an update on the Starship shortly. The presentation is expected to take place in front of this amazing, near-complete Starship prototype, and this is all going to tie off an amazing year of crazy changes, innovation, and construction of real vessels that had not even been imagined this time last year. But why is this Starship vessel such a game changer for SpaceX and all of us space enthusiasts? Up until now, SpaceX had developed and flown the amazing Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy vessels. Most of these missions have been placing payloads into various orbits around the Earth, but the next generation Starship is taking things to the next level. These 2 vessels we see here, one being built in Texas and one built in Florida, are the 2 full-scale prototypes of SpaceX's Starship. Vessels intended to travel to the moon and to even leave the Earth's sphere of influence and land on Mars. Now, last month we saw the baby version of this test vessel complete a 150-meter hop with its single Raptor engine. I say baby as it is small compared to these larger Starships, but these are anything but small. Starhopper here is around 18 meters in height, with the tank diameter being 9 meters wide. These next prototypes are taking it to a whole new level again. We're not exactly sure of the measurements, but everyone still expects it to tower up around 50 meters in height with that same 9 meter diameter. That is taller than the first stage of the Falcon 9. Quite a lot taller actually. And this beast is now going to fly with 3 of the Raptor engines, not 1. Now, when the flight tests of the Starships begin, I imagine quite a few initial tests will occur, such as small test hops and hover tests. And then we should see these missions progress quickly up to the 20-kilometer mark, each time of course touching back down at the landing site. This is going to be really incredible to watch. Elon's Twitter storm of information this week has been mind-blowing. We already know a bunch of new alterations to what we had in mind based off just these few tweets. At the start of the week, Elon Musk showed us new images saying they were adding the rear moving fins to Starship Mark 1 in Boca Chica, Texas. Now this is looking amazing now, and Elon went on to answer a number of other queries. We've all been eagerly awaiting the nose of the ship to be placed on top, but none of my sources had predicted how much equipment was going to be crammed into this nose cone. When asked if the fairings will be stacked by the 28th, Elon replied saying yes, and there's a huge amount of hardware in the tip of the fairing that's being integrated on the ground, which is why we haven't closed it out. And wow, he was not kidding. The nose tip has forward movable fins, cold gas attitude control thrusters, header tanks for landing, composite pressure vessels, several large batteries all placed up there to balance the high mass of the Raptor engines and rear fins. Now, hang on, let's just break this down because there is a lot of information here. Firstly, as far as everyone knew, the idea was still to have 3 fins as previously proposed, but now we're down to 2 fins, 180 degrees apart. Now personally, I love this. This really is starting to look like the dragon wings Elon hinted at back in April of this year. Here Elon said that with the steel wings like a dragon, we may be able to lower Starship's orbital re-entry temperature to around 1000 degrees C, which will allow the whole surface to be uncooled bare metal. Now, at the time, I still thought there would be a third leg surface which would be used along with these steel wing control surfaces, as the previous design was all about landing with the 3 legs, but that has now been changed with completely separate legs proposed to be added to the bottom of the vessel. There's going to be 6 of them, with 2 under each fin, 2 facing towards the front and 2 towards the rear. Now, recently we've seen a lot of talk and even small tests around heat shielding tiles. SpaceX have essentially developed low-cost reusable tiles that are much lighter than transpiration cooling, and as Elon stated here, they're quite robust. Now, I'm not sure if they will at any point be installed on the Mark 1 version of the Starship we see here. I suspect these will only be needed in future versions of the Starship. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Back to the nose of the Starship, the cold gas thrusters are being installed towards the top of the vessel, as Elon's tweet mentioned, and these I think will behave quite similar to what we saw with the Starhopper. You'll notice these jet bursts as the Starhopper is moving through the 150-meter flight test. These essentially help to keep the rotation under control and provides that extra level of fine control for the vessel's stability systems and landing orientation. Now, previously I believe the plan was to use some form of methane oxygen fueled reaction control systems, but at some point the cold gas thrusters were chosen. Not overly sure how easy these would be to refuel on the surface of Mars. I'd also love to know what you all think about that. But moving on to the header tanks, this is very interesting. Previously, it's always been planned to have the header tanks down with the regular propellant tanks. The idea is that these header tanks will be kept full prior to re-entry so that there is no problems with engines firing up and sucking in big air pockets. Now remember that while the vessel is not under active thrust or the effects of surface gravity, the fuel will all just float around in the tanks. Now, why move them from the rear of the Starship to the nose? Well, here's the thing. When the Starship comes in to re-enter the atmosphere, it'll need to perform this amazing skydiver routine where it wipes off as much velocity as possible while still maintaining full aerodynamic control to tilt the vessel to any angle that's needed. If most of the mass of the vessel is at the rear, it's going to be extremely difficult to stop the ship from rotating engine first. The Raptors and reserve fuel is going to be quite heavy compared to the front of the Starship, so moving the full header tanks forward to the top will pull that centre of lift further towards the centre of the vessel. This is going to help stabilise the control a great deal. Now, they're also dropping these massive Tesla batteries into the nose as well, so more mass in there. Elon gives some awesome new stats regarding the Starship here just the other day, saying the Mark 1 ship is around 200 tons dry and 1400 tons wet, but they're aiming for 120 tons dry with the Mark 4 or Mark 5. Fully fueled and with the maximum payload possible, the total mass here is expected to be around 5,000 tons, which is the figure we've been expecting for quite some time, but still, it's incredible. To put this into perspective, the full Falcon Heavy is around 1,400 tons. As it currently stands, the Falcon Heavy is the most powerful operational rocket in the world by a factor of 2, as stated by the SpaceX website. So the full Starship and Super Heavy is over 3.5 times more massive. I mean, that is just nuts. The 3 Raptor engines Elon announced has already been installed early in the week. We can see from this image that a great deal of the instrumentation has been taken off when compared to the Raptor we saw being attached to the Starhopper. It looks like they are getting reasonably comfortable with the new engine. I mean, just look at the greeble factor on this one for the Starhopper. This is just nuts. Now, it remains to be seen what information is going to be contained in the presentation, but it is expected that Elon Musk will focus a lot more on the Starship architecture itself rather than specifics about the potential future missions to the Moon or Mars. We should, however, get a great deal of information about the prototype's new aerodynamic control surfaces. We'll likely get some great updates on the latest progress of the awesome full-flow stage combustion cycle Raptor engine as well. Now that Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy flights have become a little more routine, it really does appear that SpaceX have been allocating far greater resources to the development of Starship and hopefully soon the Super Heavy booster. Obviously, there are no concrete dates around when we will first see this version of the Starship take its first flight or hop test. Elon here mentioned it could be around 1 month from now. There's huge complexity in getting this vessel ready for test flights, so we don't want SpaceX to rush this, but if we were to see it go in a month, That would be just amazing. What do you think though? Are we likely to see it fly that soon, or will we be needing to add some Elon time here to the estimates? Now, I'd also love to know what your predictions are for the presentation itself. What do you think we're likely to learn that we haven't touched on here? Personally, I'm betting this is going to be the most interesting update since we first were presented with the initial design ideas for the Starship, which back in 2016 was actually called the Interplanetary Transport System. I'll be following closely on everything here as it is unveiled in the presentation, so if you want to stay informed, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me to keep creating this content, and there are loads more updates to come here. Thank you, of course, for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please consider clicking that thumbs up button. Thanks very much to all my support crew listed here. If you're interested in these topics and would like to help out, follow my Discord link in the description and join us all in there. In the tile in the bottom left today, we have my video from the other week where we talked a little more in depth about the real radiation risks that SpaceX and NASA will face when leaving the Earth. In the top right is my latest video, and in the bottom right, a video that YouTube has selected from my channel just for you. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.